So, it's been one of those days, or rather, shall I say, a few weeks where things have been a bit difficult for me. First of all, it was Easter holidays, and my family, there's a couple of birthdays that were coming up that I needed to deal with before going back on to doing some more podcasts. But as we all know, life gets in the way, so that hampered my plans, and I wanted to get things sorted out a bit more with the way things were going regarding Sweetestmoondust Style, and I wanted to be more clear on what we stand for as a website and as a podcast, because with people not realising what cerebral palsy is and not knowing what we can do and what we can't do is a real issue, because when we're out and about, many of us can actually walk, not stably, so we'll be using either crutches, walkers. Some of us can walk without, but still need some help, support, with people around us, and may get anxious and have a slight anxiety because too close to you or something like that. And there are others who are in chairs, whether they be manual pushing along themselves or having people with them to support them. And I wanted to make it clear that the website Sweetestmoondust Style is regarding everything regarding disability, any disability, as well as my own, which is cerebral palsy. And I have mentioned that before because I'm wanting to advocate more for people with this condition. There are many of us who are not accounted for, who don't have the voice that they need. There are so many of us that we are forgotten about. We are the forgotten few in a way because of the fact that sometimes the disability is so mild that it doesn't register very much, but then at a later date in our lives it will become more and more relevant and prevalent as well, because we will be tired quicker, we will be, how can I put it, we'll be wanting to do more things and get more frustrated not being able to do them, or having more and more struggle doing them, and then having to ask people for their help. And sometimes we want to ask, sometimes we don't, and sometimes we don't want that help, and we don't want to look as if we're being ungrateful, but the independence is there, needed, because we are the same as everybody else, and that would mean anything to happen. If you've got asthma, you don't want to be treated anyone different than someone who doesn't have asthma. You don't want to be treated any different than anyone else who's got glasses. But with cerebral palsy, it just happens to be a slightly more physical situation where it can be harder for us to either speak or relay our meanings across. Sometimes I will stutter, or I'll slur, or I'll hesitate slightly longer than maybe I should, because of the way that I'm trying to get things out, or I haven't had the right wording in my head. Even though I may think it, my voice might say something completely different to what it actually means. And so I'm wanting to sort of clarify things with people, because this is what Sweetestmoondust Style is all about. I will be putting up videos regarding makeup, skincare, how we do it, or rather should I say how I do it because of my disability, what I love biotech wise, what I do with my books, because I have written a few books like The Monster Within, and questions and more questions, you know. And I think things like that, we can show that we are relevant in this world, because it doesn't mean that we can't do things. It means that we have to do things in a different way to everybody else, you know. And I want and I hope that this world can be treating people of all races, all colours, all nationalities, disabilities as the same. We need it all to be equal. In that respect, yes, we are different, and everyone is different. And yes, I'm being impassionate about this because I'm seeing it everywhere. You know, whether you be coloured or white, as the saying goes, but we're all different colours. We've got people who are albino white, and then you've got people who are pink, who are olive brown. You've got everything across. So I don't see what the point of being taking the mickey or being nasty about someone who with a different race, different colour, different disability. You know, some people, as I said, with cerebral palsy, they can't use their hands, they can't use their feet. Sometimes we can't even talk. And that's another thing I want to advocate, is for the people who can't get their message across and who can't do what they want to do because they are stuck in their heads, not being able to express what they want to say properly, and they may have to use a computer screen like Stephen Hawking did, or hand movements or eye movements, or whatever the situation is. They need to be shown that we are valid. And I'm really worried that with everything going down at the moment, it's particularly, you know, I've seen recently locally in the UK that there's been people in wheelchairs struggling, especially with seating out, you know, when people are wanting to sit outside, which is great, but is it worth struggling because they can't get through their streets because we can't walk past? I say walk, but you might say go past in a wheelchair or whatever. But that's the thing. We need to be showing that we are valid and we are important. We can't be shut away. We don't need that. We need to say that we are needed. We can do things, and I will keep saying that because it is so important. Life for everyone is important, and that can't be shied away from for anybody. And having cerebral palsy is just an aspect of me, not the whole of me. I'm wanting to get things said locally, nationally, internationally. Locally, I managed to get a crossing done for our roads nearby because there wasn't enough safety. But it wasn't just for me or anybody else who was disabled. It was for families, mums, kids, elderly, who couldn't get across the road safely without being hit by a car coming from a four-way direction. And it makes it ridiculous when you have situations like that, even here in the UK, when people have forgotten, you know. And I will be going down on my Motability scooter into town where I am, and there are times when the pavement is so uncomfortable and you feel like you're being thrown out of the scooter, you know. And I can imagine what it feels like for the babies as well, because they're being rocked. Yes, it might feel nice and quiet, and you might feel like you're being rocked to sleep, but the adults and children who are being pushed in the wheelchairs and they're feeling every bump going across, it's not comfortable. Yes, we need some more surface helping, keeping everything smooth. It also helps with people who are not unable to walk but need help, and it keeps them safe too. You know, it's important for every aspect to keep things going, whether you're disabled or not, because, you know, there are mums who have been pushing buggies and they are not done in the right way, so that they are really difficult getting past, say, wild trees walking down the road. Or we could be, or there isn't a drop down curb and it will be difficult for either the buggy or even the wheelchair. I mean, I've noticed that lots here in the UK, where people have forgotten that actually we need to be kept, all the drop down curbs need to be available for everybody, not just people being lazy parking their cars in front of it. But that's why I'm doing this. This is why I've absolutely decided that I'm going to be doing videos from now on, and I'll be doing podcasts and my blog, all for Sweetestmoondust Style, because it's about the style of life, and I want it to be a style, and it's not a lifestyle, it is a style of living, and I'm really strongly wanting to get that across, because it's important for everybody to know that we are the same as everybody else. Over the next few months, I'm hoping to be doing some maybe a reading from one of my books regarding the poems and equality regarding that, as well as showing what life is about as a cerebral palsy person. There are some great other people who I would love to interview, and I will do via podcasts, which will be available only on the podcast, and there'll be others that will be done via Zoom that I'm hoping to get in touch with, all sorts of things. So I'm hoping that this video is okay with everybody. I know that my camera is not great right now, but I'm just starting out again after many years of a breakup from doing things like what I used to do. So, and I'm trying to get things sorted out a bit more positive.